New World is about to finally get to where most had hoped it would be at launch with the addition of PvP arenas. New World has originally stated as being more of like a PvP MMO, and until now, the only true PvP was in Wars and the 20v20 point capture mode, which is Outpost Rush. I don't really count open world due to the fact that it's typically pretty rare besides a random fight here and there. So with the addition of 3v3 arenas, I'd be willing to bet that some players will be coming back to test these changes and potentially even stay in New World. That might be copium, but that's how I feel. This video is about how to get back into the swing of things since those players have been gone. I will preface though with saying that the 3v3s don't actually require high gear score or even a high level for that matter. You'll be able to join into the arenas as a level 20, and as a level 20, you'll be matched with other level 20s up until level 29. So level 20s to 29s, 30s, 39s, 40s, 49s, 50s, 59s until you hit 60, and then you're just going to be with the 60s. The way the level and gear score ramping between players will work, though, is going to be similar to how it is in Outpost Rush, so don't really sweat your level gear score too bad, because it's going to kind of even out in that way. However, this video is more about how to get back into New World and grind your gear score / learn how new systems in place to do so. So you quit playing right around like 60, and your gear score is probably somewhere on the 500 mark, right? You can now visibly see your watermark, which before was kind of just invisible. You kind of guessed where it was. Now you can actually see it. It's the purple number. It's called expertise. It's a purple number beside your equipped gear in your inventory. You can raise those numbers for each individual gear by doing a few different things, including gypsum grinding, level 60 plus dungeons, and elite zone chest runs. Those are typically the three that everyone will tell you to do, and I will stand by saying that is pretty much the best way to do it. In my mind, the quickest way to do it is dungeon grinding mixed with gypsum. You can also throw in the occasional chest run if you want to. I just feel like your time is probably better spent in a dungeon than it is doing a chest run. But if you also want to do the chest run to get the other things like the mats and all the other stuff, go for it, because it's definitely not a bad way to do it by any means. At this point, you're probably asking what gypsum is, because you might not have actually been on the game when it first came out. Basically, they are little orbs you can either make by doing different activities daily, collect the seasonal diamond one, which is also doing an activity, I guess. Currently, it's by using a harvesting tool on 3 nodes for 3 bags a day, and it's not going to always be the first 3. So like logging or using your mining axe, whatever, those kind of things. Typically, it's going to be your first 3 that you do per day. You're going to get 3 bags. You get some gold and a diamond gypsum as well. Or by buying 1 per day from your faction vendor for 7k faction tokens. It also costs 0 gold to do that one. If you choose to make your gypsum, which you should, you can make 8 different types by doing 8 different activities. 1 for each type. Like I just mentioned, diamond, you will need 3 of those to make 1 orb. Obsidian, you'll need 3 of these as well. You're gonna do level 60 plus elite world bosses. There's one at the very top of Ebon as well. You're gonna need 3 of those. You can grind the same boss. The boss is not gonna drop 1 per day. Then you'll need sapphire. You only need 1 of these per day. It's the level 60 plus dungeon bosses. It's only the last boss of the dungeon, by the way. I know there's bosses kind of mixed in with these dungeons. It's the very last one. And then emerald, only need 1 as well. It's gonna be your first daily aptitude box. Also, depending on when you came back, aptitude boxes may or may not have been in the game when you left. Aptitude boxes are once you get to 200 crafting, refining, whatever it may be, there's going to be these 3 little sections above the 200. So it's kind of like an expertise reloop kind of. Each 3rd tier is an aptitude box. So your first one that you do per the day, you'll get an emerald gypsum to use for an orb for that one. Next is citrine. You only need 1 as well. PvE arenas like sirens, you just need 1 of those. You can get more than 1 a day, but you only need 1 to make 1. Next one is more than 1. It's amethyst. You need 7 of these. You'll need to do level 60 portals, corruption breaches. It's not going to drop it for every single one. You also have to make sure that you get credit. Every big one will 100% drop it, but the smaller ones are not always going to drop 1, but you need 7 of these. I suggest going to Ebon, getting a group together, and knocking those bad boys out. Ruby, you need 2. Do an OPR. As long as you get 50 points in the OPR, you'll get credit, and you get your 2 ruby gypsums. And then there's the most confusing and in-depth one, which is topaz. You need 10 topaz. Basically, what you have to do is you make you topaz attunement, which you can either do at the Arcana station and or a level 5 tent. You'll need to get 1 of all of those elemental creatures like lightning beetle, all those. I think there are 8 of them, and you'll need to get every single one of those to make 1 topaz gypsum thing. After you get your gypsum orbs made, after you've done all of those things, you don't have to do all of those per day. Don't have to do all of them. Once you get your gypsum orbs made or bought, you can then select which cast right below you'd like to create, whether that be a chest piece, axe, earring, weapon of any other sort, anything like that. And you'll upgrade whichever one that is. You'll make the cast for it. Then you open the cast, and then you'll do that. You'll do all of that until your expertise is 600. So make sure you're doing them every single day if you can. So you'll do all of that until you get your expertise to 600. Then you'll switch tactics to the Umbral Shards. Umbral Shards are the way to push your gear from 600 to 625. You can actually take any gear above 590. And I think actually with the new update that the 3v3s are coming out, I think it's going to be 580. Don't quote me on that one. For now, it's 590, and you can push them all the way to 600, and then from 600 to 625, while raising that gear slot's expertise as well as pushing a named purple item, like we'll say Fire Vine, the fire staff that maybe has 2 perks because it's purple under 600. You can push it from the 2 perk 590 all the way to 600. That will make it the legendary version with all 3 perks. It's not going to do this with every piece of gear. It's only named gear that has a specific trait, specific perks, all of the good stuff like that. You can get Umbrals a few different ways as well. Best way would be doing dungeon mutators, which you may or may not be familiar with, so we'll go ahead and throw that out there. Dungeon mutators rotate 2 dungeons per week. Started out with 1, now they've moved it to 2. Each dungeon is more difficult with 10 different levels. You have to beat the previous level with a silver clear in order to make it to the next level. However, after level 6, you'll then have to clear the previous level with a gold in order to move forward. Each tier pass and level has higher and higher Umbral rewards, i.e. level 1 gold is only 40 shards, whereas level 6 gold is 800, level 10 gold is 6,000. Gear also takes more and more shards in order to level up. The higher the gear score, the higher the expertise are for that piece of gear. You can also get a small amount of Umbral by doing OPR currently. More for a win, less for a loss. I would assume they're probably gonna maybe put that into the reward track for the PvP stuff with the 3v3s when they come in, but I don't think they've actually disclosed that whether or not. So right now, OPR is the only PvP that you can actually get the Umbrals from. As well as making those old Gypsum caches for your gear above level 600. Higher the expertise is for those, the more Umbral that come out. If it's 625 expertise Gypsum, caches drop 400 Umbral shards. If it's 600, I think it's 100 for each shard. Anyways, the 400 Umbral shards, that's 10 times the amount you get from golding a level 1 mutation. That's a big difference. So it takes you 5 seconds. If you buy your faction orb, take it up top, drop it into 600, you still get more out of that 600 Umbral than you would from doing an M1, mutation 1. Level 1. That's basically how you level from 500 gear score to 625. There are some shortcuts here and there. If you want some of that, go for that. I won't ramble on too much farther. I will say though that OPRs, arenas, wars, invasions, all that stuff, since you've been here, probably the rewards are so much better. So keep grinding, get all the gear sets you want, do all that stuff. If you are still slightly confused about Gypsum, which I totally understand, if you want to watch a more broken down video about it, watch the video. Just go watch this video where it's an older video where I break it down when it came out. Still applies. Go check it out. That's the video. Welcome back to New World. Have a great day. Peace.